We know Konya today as the sacred sanctuary of Mevlana Rumi, the world-renowned poet and spiritual master whose tomb draws millions. But to truly understand the significance of Rumi's presence here, we must look backward, to the era before his arrival. In the heart of Anatolia, centuries before the Ottoman Empire consolidated power, Konya served a crucial, often forgotten role. It was the thriving scholarly and political capital of the Seljuk Sultanate of Rum. This city was a beacon of Islamic civilization, a center of high culture, jurisprudence, and theology, pulling in intellectuals from across the Middle East. It was this foundation, this existing structure of learning and state patronage, that allowed figures like Rumi and his family to find refuge and flourish. We will explore how Konya secured its status as the essential scholarly nexus of the Islamic world's western frontier.
The transformation began definitively after 1071, following the decisive Seljuk victory at Manzikert, which opened up Anatolia to massive Turkic settlement and eventual Islamization. The fragmented successor states eventually coalesced under the banner of the Sultanate of Rum. While earlier capitals, such as Iznik, existed briefly, it was Konya that emerged as the permanent political and cultural epicenter, especially after the Crusades intensified pressure on coastal areas. Its strategic position, nestled in the central Anatolian plateau, offered crucial defensibility and controlled key trade routes connecting the Mediterranean coast to the Byzantine frontier and the Iranian plateau. The Seljuk sultans, particularly during the 12th and early 13th centuries, were determined to legitimize their rule and solidify a robust Sunni identity, leading them to pour vast resources into transforming the city into a monumental Islamic capital. The golden age of Seljuk Konya peaked under the reigns of sultans like Kilij Arslan II and most famously Ala-ad-Din Kayqubad I. The city became a colossal construction site where political authority was inextricably linked to architectural grandeur and religious endowment. They initiated the construction of the Ala-ad-Din Mosque, which served as the official congregational mosque and the symbol of state power. Even more critical to its scholarly reputation were the numerous Madrasas, Islamic colleges, built throughout the city. These were not mere places of worship. They were state-of-the-art educational complexes, complete with libraries, dormitories, and salaried faculty. Structures like the Karatai Madrasa and the Inche Minare Madrasa stand today as silent testimony to the Seljuk dedication to art, knowledge, and theological study, demonstrating a sophistication rivaling contemporary centers like Baghdad or Damascus. What truly defined Konya as a capital was its commitment to institutionalized religious learning. The Seljuks were staunch adherents of the Sunni Hanafi school of jurisprudence, and the madrasas became primary centers for teaching fiqh, hadith, Quranic exegesis, and kalam, or rational theology. The sultans acted as direct patrons of scholarship, establishing extensive waqfas, or charitable endowments, to fund the institutions and ensure that top scholars were attracted and retained. These endowments provided salaries, stipends for students, and funds for the maintenance of enormous libraries, making scholarly life in Konya both intellectually rich and financially secure. This sustained patronage created an atmosphere of intellectual vibrancy, transforming Konya into a regional magnet for students seeking authentic Sunni Islamic knowledge, free from the sectarian struggles often plaguing the Eastern Islamic lands. The intellectual ecosystem of pre-Rumi Konya extended far beyond the foundational religious sciences. The court culture fostered a renaissance in secular arts and practical sciences. Seljuk patronage encouraged mastery in calligraphy, particularly the highly sophisticated Duluth script used in monumental inscriptions, as well as complex geometric designs that adorn countless structures. Furthermore, astronomy, medicine, and mathematics were taught and practiced with great rigor. Konya's palaces, like the one on the Ala-ad-Din Hill, were filled with artisans and scholars. The city became famous for its exquisite ceramics and tilework, which not only decorated religious sites, but also exemplified the Sultanate's commitment to aesthetic perfection and technological innovation. It was a courtly environment where intellect and artistry were celebrated components of state identity, setting the cultural standard for the entire region. The cosmopolitan nature of Seljuk Konya ensured that its intellectual vibrancy was constantly refreshed by immigrants. As political instability intensified across Central Asia, particularly with the rise of the Mongols and the decline of the Khwarezmian Empire, many Eastern scholars and mystics sought refuge in the relative safety and stability of Anatolia. Konya was the primary destination because of its established infrastructure and generous patronage. Key figures, including theologians, poets, and jurists, brought their established scholarly traditions from Samarkand, Balkh, and Bukhara, integrating them seamlessly into the existing Seljuk institutions. This influx of high-caliber expertise guaranteed that even while the Eastern Center struggled, Konya became a vital repository and transmitter of classical Islamic learning, reinforcing its status as a robust scholarly capital in exile. It is this context that frames the arrival of Jalal ad-Din Muhammad Rumi. In 1228, Rumi's father, Bahauddin Walad, himself a celebrated theologian and jurist from Balkh, fled the encroaching Mongol threat. He was not merely seeking refuge, he was seeking a peer city where his status as a grand scholar would be recognized and supported. Sultan al-Din Kayqubad I, understanding the value of such intellectual assets, personally invited Walad to settle in Konya, offering him a prestigious teaching post at one of the city's established madrasas. The capital provided the security, the library resources, and the sophisticated audience necessary for Walad to continue teaching and for the young Rumi to complete his own extensive education in the traditional Islamic sciences, the very framework that would later allow him to embark on his profound mystical path. However, no golden age lasts forever. The political landscape of Konya was irrevocably altered in 1243 with the catastrophic Battle of Kosa Dağ, where the Seljuk forces were decisively defeated by the Mongol armies. While the Sultanate of Rum was not extinguished overnight, it was reduced to a vassal state, forcing it to pay heavy tribute and leading to a period of political fragmentation and instability. This external pressure significantly impacted state patronage, yet the scholarly infrastructure built over generations proved resilient. Even as sultans changed and the economy wavered, the endowed Waqfs continued to operate, albeit often through great difficulty. The centers of learning, now deeply rooted in the city's fabric, remained active, acting as cultural anchor points during a politically chaotic transition, ensuring that knowledge production did not cease. It is in this challenging post-Mongol environment that Rumi's mystical path fully blossomed, a path that owed its immediate success to the existing intellectual foundations. By the time Rumi transitioned from a traditional scholar, alim, to a mystic, arif, Konya already possessed a deep respect for intellectual rigor and religious scholarship. His madrasa training was comprehensive, making him an authoritative voice even among his peers. The scholarly city did not just tolerate Sufism, it had already begun to welcome it, viewing it as a spiritual dimension complementary to the Sharia sciences. Konya was home to many other Sufi masters and the Ahi organization, a powerful guild system with deeply rooted mystical leanings, proving that the city was ripe for a spiritual revival anchored in intellectual tradition. The ground was prepared for the transformative movement we now associate with Rumi. The lasting legacy of Seljuk Konya is the immense intellectual wealth it preserved and produced, wealth that transcended its political boundaries. Even as the Seljuk Sultanate finally fragmented into smaller beyliks, the institutions, the architectural style, and the scholarly traditions established in Konya did not vanish. They diffused outward, profoundly influencing the emerging political and cultural landscapes of the nascent Ottoman state. The methodologies, the jurisprudence, and even the architectural blueprints developed in Konya found new homes, especially in early Ottoman capitals like Bursa. Konya, having served as a bridge for Central Asian learning into Anatolia, ensured that a cohesive, high-standard Islamic scholarly tradition survived the geopolitical upheavals of the 13th and 14th centuries, becoming a foundational pillar for the future empire that would reshape the Islamic world. Today, when we visit Konya, we see the vibrant life surrounding Rumi's shrine, the spiritual heartbeat of the city. But standing alongside it are the monumental remains of the Seljuk past, the soaring gates, the detailed mihrabs, and the solid stone walls of the madrasas. These structures are more than just ruins. They are physical manifestations of the political will and intellectual ambition of a sophisticated Islamic state that existed long before the world acknowledged the fame of its greatest poet. They tell the story of a forgotten capital that prioritized knowledge, nurtured scholars fleeing conflict, and consciously built an intellectual infrastructure designed to last. Understanding Konya before Rumi is essential, as it reveals the deep, rich soil of Islamic learning in Anatolia that made Rumi's transformative work possible in the first place.
Konya'nın identitesi, as a scholarly capital, cemented by the Seljuks, provided a critical layer of cultural continuity during a period of intense geopolitical stress. It stands as a powerful testament to how state patronage of intellectual pursuits can secure not just temporary flourishing, but a lasting legacy that endures through centuries. We hope this journey into the forgotten Seljuk heartland has shed light on the immense historical depth beneath Rumi's more immediate fame. Thank you for exploring this vital piece of Islamic history with us. If you found this historical exploration valuable and want to continue uncovering the overlooked treasures of the past, please take a moment to hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell for more updates and in-depth historical documentaries.